Alright folks, today we're taking a look at Truck World Australia, a game that's been in development for quite a while and one that many people in the trucking community have been keeping an eye on. We've now had two demos from the developers. The first was the driving school preview, and the second, first hole, is what we'll be talking about today. Look, I'm not here to hype anything up or tear anything down. I just want to honestly talk about where the game stands right now and where I'd like to see it go by the time we eventually get a full release. So in the first whole demo, you start off in a parking lot with your truck already connected to a trailer. Nothing complicated, just hop in, start the engine and hit the open road. And honestly, the first impressions are not that bad. The driving model feels a little bit floaty to me compared to something like, let's say, ATS, but definitely more controlled than what we got in, let's say, Alaskan Truck Simulator. And that's important because the game Truck World will inevitably be compared to ETS2 and ATS, but they are in the category of their own. So the more realistic comparison at this point, I would say, is something like Alaskan Road Truckers. And speaking of first impressions, I can see why the developers leaned into Australian Outback as an environment for this game. This kind of environment doesn't need to be super dense with detail, long roads, open deserts, sparse landmarks, and yet it still manages to look atmospheric, at least I think so. In fact, visually it's already ahead of Alaskan Road Truckers in most areas. And for the indie developer team, the Australian Outback, I think it's a perfect starting point for their first title. But then you hop into the cab and yeah, the low resolution textures stand out straight away. From the exterior, the trucks look great, but internally it feels very placeholder. I'm hoping these are temporary assets because the cockpit is where the players will spend majority of their time. Now for the controls, I chose to play on a controller and honestly, I regretted that pretty quickly. Not because of the truck handling, but because the camera sensitivity is insanely high. And with no sensitivity sliders available, there's no way to fine-tune it at all. Other than that, the controls were generally okay. I just wish the handling had a bit more weight to it and the trucks didn't feel so floaty. But maybe that's to come. Maybe it will be adjusted still. When it comes to audio, I feel like this is where the immersion takes a noticeable hit. The engine sounds are actually solid, but you don't get the little audio cues that help you feel what's happening with your truck. Braking hard, no tire feedback. Rolling over the gravel instead of tarmac, no surface sound differences at all. It's a minor thing on paper, but in practice these details really matter, especially in a sim genre. You know, games like ETS2 and ATS have spoiled us with the strong audio design in their titles. But let's get back to the journey itself. So halfway to the mine, I came across a broken down truck blocking the entire road. The traffic was backed up and I had two choices: clear the trailer myself or take a muddy detour. And because I wanted to see what the game had in store, I ended up doing both. The detour actually surprised me. I didn't expect deformable terrain to be a mechanic here. But as soon as my wheel started digging into the mud and spinning, I got a prompt to engage a differential lock. Between wheel spin and diff locking, there's a clear potential here for off-road gameplay that goes beyond simple drive in a straight line kind of trucking. If the developers lean into this, proper muddy sections, soft sand, unexpected road conditions, I mean, Truck World might carve out its own unique space, where it really bridges between, let's say, a title like SnowRunner and a title like ETS2. So you get a highway driving and a bit of off-road driving. When I eventually moved the broken trailer off the road, I expected traffic to resume, but nothing happened. The AI just sat there like the road was still blocked. Not sure if that is a bug or not, but it would be great to see these little dynamic events actually influence the world. If I solve the problem, I want to feel like I solved it, not like I just ticked the box. And honestly, these scripted events like that are going to be vital. Driving hundreds of miles through empty desert can be repetitive unless something breaks it up. Accidents, weather shifts, animal crossings, roadworks, random scenarios, anything to be honest, just to give the journey some personality. ETS2 does this well, not because of individual roads, but because of varied stories you experience along the way. Truck World will need the same sense of journey variety. One detail I really liked is my truck got visibly dusty the longer I drove. Little touches like that go a long way in a game set in the outback, and I'm hoping there is a wash station somewhere in the full game. It would fit perfectly within the Australian trucking vibe. I also enjoy how the trailer attachment and detachment worked. You actually feel like you're performing a task. Not too tedious, but not press one button either. A good balance, and I hope that style continues with other gameplay systems. But what I'm most curious about is the variety of trucks we'll eventually get. Different models, different cabins, potentially road trains. There's so much potential here, especially with the Australian theme. I'd also love to see night driving, storms, harsh weather, and the feeling of battling the elements. Towards the end of the mission, my dispatcher mentioned an incoming sandstorm, and honestly, that's something I'm really looking forward to experiencing. In terms of overall progress, this demo feels like a genuine step up from the first one. The devs have already shown glimpses of towns and cities planned for the full game, and they look interesting. With enough points of interest, Truck World would become varied enough to stay engaging over the long sessions. One thing I wasn't able to check is the map though. The demo only gives us, the little sat-nav route at the bottom of your screen, and you can't zoom out or anything like that to preview or to have a look at the full layout. I really hope the road network ends up being dense and diverse. That's where Alaskan road truckers fell apart. The same roads over and over with no alternatives. You never felt like you had options. With Australia being so huge, I'm hoping Truck World give us multiple ways to get from point A to B. Lastly, while the AI in the demo seemed fine, visually, there are no consequences for hitting other vehicles. There's no fines, no damage penalties, nothing. I'm really hoping that gets implemented because it adds stakes to the driving, late deliveries, damaged cargo, speeding fines, the whole lot. These things actually matter in a trucking sim. So overall, Truck World Australia is shaping up better than I expected from its early demos. There's progress, there's potential, and there's a solid foundation here. But it still needs time in the oven before it's ready for full release. If the devs keep refining the physics, improving audio, expanding points of interest, even polishing some visuals and making the world feel alive, this game could end up being something genuinely worthwhile in the trucking genre. But for now, I am cautiously optimistic, and I'm curious at the same time to see what comes next. But what do you guys think about Truck World Australia? Have you managed to check out the demo called First Haul? If not, it's available on Steam. I believe it's only available for PC, so it's not available for any of the consoles as it stands right now. Hopefully those demos will come to the consoles as well. But yeah, enough rambling. Let me know in the comments down below what you guys think about this title. What's your expectations for it? And are you excited for it to finally be released at some point? Put your thoughts down below in the comments. And for now, thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Take care.